How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SOFI. It ended up being up just over 1.7% on the day, and it also made another 52-week low. So that's why I want to make sure, since we have one more trading day before we go into the long weekend, I want to make sure you're prepared. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, we want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $7.61, being up 1.74%. On the low, it tested $7.24, and then on the high, testing $7.68. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 39.089 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 48.175 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 34.87. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So again, we were able to form another 52-week low at $7.24. This level held up and we ended up seeing a high of $7.68. So as far as going into tomorrow, since it will be the last trading day of the week, if you're looking for a bullish move from SOFI, then we need to have some price action above $7.85. If it is able to get above $7.85, then we can look forward to that potential move going to $8. If it decides to consolidate, then of course, I don't want to see us holding up strength above $7.45. But if this doesn't hold, then of course, we will be testing support here at $7.24. And if we break through $7.24, we'd want to see support hold up at least around $7. This would be very key. Also today, we did have some bank earnings that came out. Wasn't that good. Even though SOFI is a fintech company, you already know inside the market they like to group these stocks together. So one thing we want to keep an eye on is if it decides to consolidate and then go into next week, things can look good. But if not, if we have more selling pressure, this is why we can probably look forward to another 52-week low going into next week. So let's see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 13th, we have Red Point Investment Management Pty that purchased 17,463 shares, and then we have 3 closed positions, which was the value of 100%, with Trainer Capital Management, Coastal Investment Advisors, and as well as Baldwin Brothers Inc. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 42.34%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 11.80 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 650,000, updated 35 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.53%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 11th, it was at 39.59, and then for the close of the 12th being at 42.34. So that is a significant increase right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 18.01%, shows us that SOFI does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SOFI. So we see on the inflow, it is at 52.83, and then on the outflow is at 45.98. So we had an inflow day, and keep in mind, these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at it further, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 32.12, and then on the small, it was 20.71. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 29.11, and then on the small, it was 16.87. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for April the 13th, which is today, we ended up having 0. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. Again, retail is buying up the dip. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And of course, for the large, it represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had 0 on both sides. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 4.73%. So this is not too bad for a volatile stock like SOFI. We already know it sees a lot of trading volume. And what is clear here, that retail investors and as well as traders did load up when it made another 52-week low. So let's get into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for SOFI, when it comes to the price action, we ended up making a new 52-week low at $7.24. So I know a lot of traders and as well as investors are going to be keeping an eye on this area. We did have many who are loading up on the dip, but if 724 breaks, then we want to make sure support could hold up at least at $7. If this level breaks, you know I'm going to be adding to my position big time. If you're looking for a reversal out of this play, then we need to have some price action above $7.85. Upon doing this, that's where we can make that move going to $8. And don't forget, we also have a gap that needs to be filled to the upside around $8.50. I am not saying that this is going to be happening on Thursday. I want to make sure I'm being very clear about that. We do have a short week. I see continued volatility. So that is a price level I would be looking out for the near term for the upside. Because we know as far as these markets, there's a lot of uncertainty. We had the CPI numbers that came out and it was just a tick above what was expected. So keeping this in mind, that's why I want to make sure you're doing your homework and you're doing your due diligence and being aware of those price levels if you're planning on trading it. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions have been closing out their positions, but there's still some interest in SOFI. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. And to put a little bit more icing on the cake, we did have some financial firms that came out with earnings today. And the way how it is looking in regards to the economy, of course, there's not as much spending. And will this have an impact on SOFI? This is going to be the big question. They do have earnings that's going to be coming out in the beginning of May. And I know for a fact, depending on what those results look like, it will have a dramatic impact on the stock. And I'm not saying that SOFI is in the same category as these legacy banks and firms, but we have to take a look at the fact that the market is going to be looking at it in that particular fashion. So even though that SOFI is in the fintech space, I would highly suggest that you keep a very close eye on the financial sector. And the best way to do that is to keep a bunch of them on your watch list, just like myself. I might even put up a screenshot on the screen so you guys can see the stocks that I watch. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how SOFI performs for the last trading day before the long weekend. We'll be talking real soon.